Welcome to episode 30. This is our Net Zero Build, the Desert Comfort Experience. This is a follow-up episode to episode 26, where we talked about the importance of having good trade vendors. So before we get into the issue here, I do want to talk about just an important point. You know, it's pretty often that many of us builders, we deal with issues throughout the build. It's a common thing, right? Mistakes happen, miscommunication. As much as we try to plan things with designers and architects and builders on board, interpretation changes, right? Sign-offs happen, and maybe the client didn't fully understand what they were signing off, or something was overlooked. Case in point with this detail. So one thing that is really important is not only to have good trade partners that stand behind their work, that we can work through issues, we can problem solve for our clients. And we're gonna get into this issue specifically and how it was resolved and what we did and how it looks now. But more importantly, how do we now audit this job? How do we do our autopsy and now formulate into our systems, our paperwork, these changes, right? So that a very good example previously is, you know, when you're doing countertops and you have book matching, or you have a large island that has to have a seam because you can't get product big enough to not have a seam. It's really important that you are sitting down, or me, with our interior designer and our client, and we are having them sign off on where every seam will be from our fabricator of our countertop slab. Same thing with, you know, plumbing fixtures, as we're thinking about thresholds, and we're signing off on window, you know, swings and multi-sliders. When they all stack, where are they gonna stack? You know, these are really important conversations to have. Tile layouts, one thing that seems to always come up with tile is when you have these linear drains. And we all know that clients are installing and selecting large format tile, you know, 24 by 48 inch in many cases. And they want that to continue into the master bathroom and into the shower. Well, keep in mind that when you have large format tile and you have a linear drain and you have slope, it's really difficult to get that slope, to get that drainage, and to make it look right. And a lot of times you have to cut little pieces, right? So you can miter them in. And it's really important that you convey that so that the client understands before you install it and they're not happy. So it's these little things that as mistakes happen, document them. Put them in your system, in your SOP, so that you have a checklist moving forward so you don't make that same mistake again. Now back to the point at hand here. So you can see that originally one of the issues here is that we know how this happened. You know, the plan was we have 4 sliders, you know, 2 on each wall, because this is all glass, plenty of natural light here in this great room, is that it started from the inside edge and worked to the outside edge, which means, you know, as we're stacking these panels, that's exactly how it laid out from here to here. What the one issue was, is that as they lined up in the middle, because it was going from inside corner to outside corner to outside corner, when you got to the middle, this panel sat flush with the interior. And although it's been fixed now, this panel, if I open it, this panel actually sat on the outside. So you can see there's 4 tracks here. This sat outside, so when it was closed, you'd have one panel here on the exterior, right there, and this one on the inside, so they were off, and it looked off. And so that is where our client said, that's not gonna work, right? You know, we understand why the manufacturer and logistically how this happened and how it was missed. But now the real world application here in the field that becomes installed, and you're like, this is not gonna function properly, because ideally you want both panels flush, it looks right, you know, as they start in the middle and then they stack all the way back. So then that way when it's open too, you have some consistency. So fortunately for us, Cardinal, this is all triple pane glass through Cardinal. And it's not cheap, right? Triple pane glass is not cheap. But because these are aluminum thermally broken panels through Benelli, which is part of Pella, and Benelli's here local, Benelli was able to come in and they actually picked up every panel. So they came and picked up 16 panels here that are heavy. They took them back to their shop. They broke them down. They took apart all the aluminum thermally broken metal components here. They rebuilt them. They used the same glass. We did not have to replace the glass. And they reconfigured the entire track and the layout here so that we could have this resolution. And then they brought them back. So there was a lot of labor involved. You come pick up 16 tracks, bring them back, rebuild them all, bring them back out and install them. and still have that nice flow and consistency. So again, not only are we grateful to Benelli for being such an amazing partner to stand behind it, get these done right. This is such a signature project for us and our client. So they did that, but more importantly, moving forward, how we document this at AFT to make sure that this doesn't happen again, right? That we're very clear on how the configuration is and that the client understands exactly when we explain it, the pros and cons of both scenarios. So thank you for tuning in. We have some other great episodes coming on our Net Zero build, the Desert Comfort Experience.